Welcome to the Tesla Power Podcast, the Tesla energy community covering solar panels, solar roof, and Powerwall for your home. I'm Aaron Brady. Today, let's talk about reducing electricity consumption rather than increasing production. Let's talk about the install progress from Kevin and Marti's projects. Let's talk about home battery storage system test results. Let's talk about this year's electricity bill compared to last year's electricity bill. And the solar roof goes international. This is big news. Let's do it. As per usual, we'll kick the pod off with community input, and you can participate by leaving a comment below, linking your own YouTube videos, calling 203-816-5150, or emailing teslapowerpodcast@gmail.com. Something else you can do pretty easily is you can record an unlisted video question in the YouTube app and send a link so I can put your video question in the show. So first up, we have a quick question from Brian, who is... I don't know, maybe he's trying to create a video on YouTube to share with the rest of us. Let's check it out full screen. Quote, what does the create button do in the YouTube app for iOS? I'll email you the screenshot, end quote. Now, that there button gets content from your device to YouTube. So let's take a look at that photo so we all know what we're talking about. Should be able to pull it up here full screen. Now you can see that Brian's app shows a fancy create button. He's got it circled in yellow. That's right below the extremely attractive freeze frame of me on my podcast. I can definitely see how it's confusing because it looks like you're creating something that might be part of this video or might be going up to my channel, but it's not. It is your create button. As you saw in an earlier episode, I have just the plus sign, but either way, that's the route to getting content onto YouTube. And I had pointed out that you can upload a pre-recorded video using that button, but you can also go live if you're feeling ambitious. Now, I do this podcast live to tape. I do not go live from the start. I am much too much of a hack to be trusted with anything like that at the moment. But maybe one day. If you record your videos first, you can get some editing done before you upload it to make sure that the content's tighter. Or in my case, proof it before you publish it to make sure there's not some huge gaffe. Like recording half your podcast with the mic on mute. I mean, I would never do that again. Next, we have a couple of updates on projects from others that have been sharing what's going on. First, we're going to check in with Kevin. He's got a quick note and a screenshot. Let's take it full screen. He says, things are going very quick, end quote. So if I pull up his screenshot, it's a screenshot of his timeline. It's showing that he's completed permitting. And you can see that his next step is to schedule on-site work. You'll see that there is a link just below that called Potential Roof and Site Upgrades. And it leads to a list of reasons that Tesla will need to charge you more money. I mean, I'm being a little glib about it, but let's take a look at what a few of those charges, could possibly be. I want to make sure that I take those full screen. In fact, I've got my project up. You can see more detail on this. Actually, in this account, in this link, you can see that I still have the link up because my project is still ongoing. Anyway, you can see right here what Tesla might need to address if any of the following, happen during your project. So the first would be electrical upgrades. The second would be a roof deck overlay or repair. Some roofing types don't have a roof deck, so you might have to put that overlay in, like old shake shingles just have slatting that the shingles mount to, so you have to put down a deck to begin with. Alternate roofing, there might be places where you can't install these Tesla solar shingles or even the dummy shingles for that matter. I saw one that was like I think it's a Dutch roof where the side of the roof was almost vertical and they can't put the tiles on those. So they might do some alternate roofing there. And then the last bit are skylights and rooftop equipment. Those might require some sealing or maintenance or some kind of repairs around them. And surprise, surprise, none of those are going to be cheap. And something that they didn't tell me, and I haven't seen them listed on this this FAQ here, is that they'll need to remove your gutter guards. Why? I had to look it up. I was at the time too Twitter pated to ask why. I was just like, oh yeah, you need to do that. Go ahead. I didn't think about, why do you need to do that? Just so I could explain it to other people, baseline. But looking it up, I believe they needed to get some leverage in front of and below the tiles to line them up and mount them at the base of the roof. The gutter guards, of course, they cover the top of the gutters and obstruct tooling used to accomplish this. Kevin, let us know if any of these stingers get you during this process. But let's get a quick update from Marty. He's let's just see how his is progressing. He says here, quote, still waiting. Our HVAC guy came in and we had to call Tesla. Something was wrong with our compressor on our heat. The electric panel's a mess. Tesla said no issues. The soft start was bad, so he took it off. Now we have heat. Tesla guy said soon we're going to have a new electric panel and getting it done. What does soon mean? Question mark. End quote. And soon means not soon enough. That's for sure. I mean, I'm glad you got your heat sorted. Seems kind of important. For those of you who are earlier in this process, this electrical work is one of the potential roof and site upgrades that may be required to complete the solar roof installation. So be aware. Now, I was going to put in a sub panel before Tesla arrived so that we could put the critical loads on the single battery that I was going to get originally. I'm glad I didn't get that work done because I ended up getting 2 batteries, which allows for a whole home backup, no sub panel required. Let us know where you're at if you have questions. We'll see if we can offer some good advice. But generally, it would be better to allow Tesla to do the work because they know what the end product needs to be. But Marty, once the electrical work is sorted, I expect you're well on your way to power on and project completion. Anyway, keep us posted. Next question. This one is a great question from Jerome on the last episode. He says, quote, or he asks, producing more is nice, but why not focus also on consuming less? Do you know the breakdown of your electric consumption in your house? Have you looked at replacing appliances with more efficient ones? Heat pump furnace or even a heat pump dryer would lower your consumption by a lot. If you can lower your consumption, then you would not have to worry about producing more and you would have newer and more efficient appliances. End quote. Love that. I mean, this is a legit question. You know that the first principle, of course, when you're taught the recycling round is number 1, reduce, then reuse, then recycle. They're in order of importance. If you reduce what you use in the first place, then you don't have to reuse anything. You don't have to recycle anything. Of course, if you reuse what you already have, then you don't need to recycle. But if you do have to use as much as you're using, you can't reuse anything else, then of course recycling is going to be your last option, right? To be as responsible as you can with those resources. But for electricity, I'd say it's different. In fact, I'd say it's dramatically different. I'd say it's in this order. First is consumption, then production, and then reduction. Now, I hear you shouting in the comments, what? Consumption first? What are you even talking about? Well, first priority at the moment is to increase our efficiency at the societal level by moving away from vehicles that are only 15% efficient on average to vehicles that are 80% efficient on average. I mean, that means moving away from gasoline vehicles to electric vehicles, which is an enormous increase in electricity consumption. But it's an enormous increase in efficiency. So this time of year, our car uses way more electricity than the rest of our house combined. If we didn't have an electric car, I would say we would way more than cover our current usage. Yeah, I mean, easily. So, we have an electric car just to be cool. Let's be clear. We aren't bothered by the efficiency or the environmental impact, if we're going to be brutally honest. Those things are nice. I'm happy for someone, honestly, to believe that we care about the environment that much. And, you can place my halo right about there, please. But if the Tesla weren't fun and cool, we would still have the Hyundai Accent. Don't touch the halo. I deserve it for being honest. But the next priority then after switching all of our consumption is generation. We will all need to contribute to the generation of electricity to meet that increased capacity. And that will enable others to make the switch as well. If we don't increase capacity, there's not going to be enough electricity to go around. I mean, this is absolutely a fail if we move to electric vehicles, but then end up with constant brownouts and blackouts. Key to this move is storage. We must have batteries to buffer the generation we're supplying to help stabilize the grid. Again, it's a huge fail if we end up with rolling brownouts because we can't shift the supply of electricity from the time it's generated in the middle of the day to the time it's needed later in the day and overnight. And then, of course, the last priority is reduction. Yes, we can reduce the amount of electricity we're using in other areas. In fact, we are shifting currently some of our electricity shifting our heating away from electricity to natural gas. This isn't driven by efficiency. It's driven by reliability. It's not driven by economics either, that's for sure. Natural gas prices are way more volatile than electricity prices. This is driven by the need for security. A winter without heat can be a huge problem for our family, and making sure the heat is adequate and reliable is the highest priority for me at the moment. If the power were to go out and we relied on electricity for heat, my family would have a huge problem. What I can do to make sure my family has reliable heat is to generate that heat with natural gas and power the furnace electronics and the ignition with electricity from our power walls. That way, if the grid goes down, the electric baseboard heating in the basement turned off. We can't afford to spend our precious stored electricity on heating. It's just not enough electricity anyway. And let's directly address your comment on heat pump appliances. Definitely they are way more efficient, but how much more efficient are they than my current appliances? They might be enough to make up for some of our increased usage in certain seasons, but are they going to be the delta between what we use with the electric car and without the electric car? That's unlikely. So what about the cost benefit? Would I be better off spending that money on additional electricity generation capacity? I don't know. That might be worth a podcast on its own. So Kevin, I love this question. It really made me, step back and think critically about the bigger picture, my current situation. But honestly, we need to continue to discuss. Thank you, Brian, Kevin, Marty, Jerome. Thank you all for your input. We want to hear from you too. Send your YouTube video links. Make your comments below. Call 203-816-5150. Email teslapowerpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what's going on with you. Let us know what your questions are. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll cover a bit of news. Solar Quotes blog reports on a long-term study conducted by the Canberra Battery Test Center. The results are not great. Let's take this full screen. And if I scroll down a little bit, I want to read a quote. Only 2 of the 8 battery brands tested worked as they were supposed to. The rest had problems that ranged from temporary breakdowns to complete failure, end quote. And Tesla is not a shining star here. What I will say is that these are data points of one. We don't see these issues at scale for any manufacturer. It is odd that this facility has so many issues. It's definitely not a great sign for the industry as a whole. But from my limited experience researching the whole solar industry, the offending component has not been the batteries. It's been the inverters. Still, we all need more batteries, and they need to be reliable. So take a read through the blog post. It's really good detail and good education for us in the U.S. that have less experience with battery storage than the Australians. Link to the description below. Let's check out the next article. This one is from Electrek. Tesla says supply chain issues are affecting its solar panel business. And this is Electrek reporting on solar retrofit supply specifically. Quote, Electrek has obtained an email Well, let me take it full screen for you. Electrek has obtained an email Tesla sent to solar employees last week to warn them that it will delay some installations. We confirm with the supply chain team that some supply constraints would impact our ability to schedule installations for PV retrofits. Tesla expects a 3 to 4 megawatt impact on installations this quarter and notes that some installations might need rescheduling toward the end of next month. End quote. So if any of you experience delays in your Tesla solar panels installations, let me know. It would be really helpful to warn the wider community on delays and give them an idea of what to expect in the short term and in the medium term. All right, we have another press release from a third-party installer. Let's take it full screen. Quote, Kelly Roofing, a Florida roofing company founded in 1972, has found success as a Tesla certified installer. The company installs Tesla solar roofs, Tesla solar panels, and Tesla Powerwalls. Providing these services to roof owners has fit well with Kelly Roofing's dedication to innovation and customer service, end quote. This is another in a long line of businesses that are building reputations and cachet on the Tesla brand. In fact, they continue the flex by announcing the following. Get this. This is pretty crazy. Full screen. Kelly Roofing has installed countless solar roofs, both in Florida and the first international Tesla solar roof. They're proud to have installed a 99 kilowatt Tesla solar roof, the largest ever on one client's home. End quote. This is my headline. I mean, first international Tesla solar roof. This is some news. I mean, I wonder if it isn't sanctioned by Tesla or maybe not sanctioned by the regulatory authority where this is installed, because they haven't provided any detail on where that international location is. They do also in this press release note $12 million worth of solar roofs have been sold this year. So that's not installs, but it's sales. And it's something to work with to get us an idea of what kind of quantities Tesla is selling of these solar roofs. So let me pull up the calculator. And if I insert it here, we can watch some math happening. God help us all. Let's say that the average selling price is a bit high. They note that they're selling larger systems. They're in exotic locations, so their clientele are likely spending the big bucks. So we'll assume these include batteries as well. We're not just talking about roofs. We're talking about the full system. So we'll talk about, I don't know, we'll use $100,000 per install as our working number. So if we do 100,000, oh, sorry, we want the million, right? 12 million divided by 100,000. I should be able to do this in my head, but I can't. Is 120 solar systems. Again, not installs as I had already mentioned, but if we put that into a run rate, we might be looking at the ability for them to install 10 solar roofs a month. So let's extrapolate that out to the third-party installers that we specifically know about, right? American Home Contractors, Greenlee, Good Faith, Weddell & Sons, and now Kelly Roofing. That would account for 60 roofs installing per month. We got to probably account for the average selling prices being a little bit lower, since they're not all, super ritzy customers or super ritzy installers or even super ritzy locales. But if we assume, maybe something about 75K, then maybe we're looking at a current market potential worth about $4.5 million in sales per month. And that would be about, 55 million per year, 54 million per year. Not that impressive on its own. But Tesla, of course, handles a lot of those installs on their own at the moment. They don't go through third parties. So we should increase it by some amount. But something else that I thought about was finding more of these, independent installers. And come to find out, there is a search page on the website, on the Tesla website, for certified Tesla solar roof installers. So let's go take a look. If I pull that up full screen, to have it here. Yeah. So full screen. Find a Tesla solar roof certified installer. If I put in Trumbull, Connecticut, USA, I'm given Suncommon, who's in Rhinebeck, New York. Now, what's a huge bummer for me is you can see they don't simply list them out. That kind of sucks. But you can search by locale, and they'll give you a referral to someone. And for me, that guy's in Rhinebeck, New York, and that's about 2 hours away from me. If we take this sort of density, though, and we extrapolate that to figure out maybe the number of certified installers they have nationwide, we would get something like 50 total installers nationwide. Now, 50 third-party installers doing 10 a month at $75,000 a pop, that gets us up to some interesting numbers. Let me see if I can bring that calculator back in. So if we're doing... Again, we're saying a $75,000 ASP. So 75,000 times 50 installers, doing 10 installations a month, 12 months a year. We're talking about almost $500 million. I mean, that's $450 million in revenue. You know, of course, the question is, how quickly can they ramp that? If the capacity is in place, then I'd expect to start to see those numbers in Q4. You know, Q1's going to suck because it's off season, but Q2 and Q3 of next year might really show some strong numbers in the Tesla Energy division, you know, from strong contribution of the solar roof and the Powerwall specifically. We'll see. But let's take another break. When we come back, I'm going to give you some more PTO drama, and we'll get into some stats on my system. Since reaching out last week, no response from Tesla. Shocker, I know. I've refreshed my request and branched out to a second project manager to see if they might be more responsive. I'm sensitive to the fact that I'm really kind of barking up the wrong tree here. They're on the wrong side of the project. They're not, you know, in permitting. They're in the install team. I just need them to get me in touch with a person that I can work with to move this forward. While we're looking for another contact, I was really surprised to see that there's no longer an advisor listed on my Tesla account. It wasn't working out, you know, from my perspective. So, you know, maybe it's not that much of a surprise, but having a person that I can harass for answers, or not having one anyway, it's a little disappointing. Even if they're just a name on a page. You know, you call them up and their voicemail's full. You send them an email, they never respond. I don't know. It's just not great. So I shall harass the project managers for now. If I had time in my life, I'd probably sit on hold for hours, you know, so I can at least call them and maybe get somebody on the phone eventually. I mean, maybe I'm going to have to do that anyway, right? So the drama continues. I'll, you know, of course, keep you updated. So let's get to some good news. Let's talk production. Oh, wait. Production's starting to dip because it is late in the year and the sun is going low and the days are short. But here's one of the latest screenshots. Actually, I should take it full screen. You can see, you know, we've been doing under 20 kilowatt hours with the days getting shorter and the sun getting lower. It's not terrible today, just over that 20 kilowatt hour mark so far. And looking at the Solar Edge interface, I can see my brother-in-law's production is edging me out. See right there, they've got 21 kilowatt hours, but you know, production's falling really fast. You can see in comparison with my curve, you know, production's still pretty strong up here at the time of the screenshot. We might still win. A couple hours of sunlight to go. Also, I get that it's not a competition. We all win, right? I still want my production to be higher. Let's check out some utility bills. We haven't done that in a while. I think the last time I brought it up was maybe in June, the best production month of the year. Really great time to bring it up. Let me just pull it up so it's ready to go. And make sure we're looking at the right bill. So let's compare October 2020 to October 2021. All right, full screen. Last year's bill was $298.24. And this year, so you can see it was due 11/23 of 2020, November 23. This bill is due November 23rd, 2021, and it's only $78.70. We saved $220 last month. I like seeing that. I will, of course, do a more comprehensive 6-month review in a couple of episodes now that we have the data. The only thing that's very disappointing is that I'm only reducing my usage. I'm not yet getting net metering, but we'll talk more about that in the comprehensive review. We'll talk more about the full process as well as the detailed economics in that comprehensive review as well. And that'll do it for the episode, 34 of the Tesla Power Podcast. Of course, you are welcome and encouraged even to use my referral code. Let me bring it up here. You can save yourself $500 on a solar roof. You can save $300 on solar panels. You'll go to ts.la/Aaron62310 to place your order. And this is what that order page looks like. So once you navigate, you'll see this page. You'll see that you can click this link to order the solar roof and this link to order your solar panels. If you don't click through this page, you won't get the referral reward. And they do expressly say in the terms of use that they can't add the referral later. So just fair warning for everybody. And thank you to those that have already used this this referral code. Super, super kind. Thank you, thank you. And I'm Aaron Brady. I'm your Tesla residential energy community organizer. Let's do this again on the next video.